Level 1. The Run. You are standing in your kitchen at 3 in the morning, and there are headlights on your street that were not there 60 seconds ago. You did not turn on a light. You are just watching the ceiling glow move across the room, and some animal part of you already knows what it means before the rest of you catches up. The knock comes hard and flat. A voice says your name through the door, then the word warrant, then a word you were not built to hear attached to yourself. Homicide. There is a body across town, a man you spoke to once, and a chain of small facts that all happen to point at you. Your car near the scene. A message on his phone from your number. A neighbor who saw someone your height leave the building. None of it is true the way they think it is. All of it is real enough to arrest you. Sandra is awake behind you now, one hand on the doorframe, asking what is happening in a whisper that is already frightened. You look at her, and this is the moment the two roads split. One road opens that door, trusts the process, and spends the next year in a courtroom betting your life on 12 strangers believing you. The other road goes out the back. You take it. You will spend years trying to understand why. The honest answer is that fear does not do math. Your body decides before your mind is asked. You are through the kitchen, out the rear door, over the low fence into the neighbor's yard while the voices are still being polite at the front. The grass is wet. Your socks are soaked before you remember you have no shoes. You are wearing what you slept in and a light blue hoodie you grabbed off the chair, and that is the entire inventory of your life now. The first hour is not clever. It is pure animal geography. Fences, hedges, the black gaps between streetlights. You keep the houses between yourself and the road. A dog starts up 2 yards over, and your heart tries to climb out through your teeth. You hear the radios before you see the cars, that clipped chatter that means a perimeter is being drawn, and you understand with awful clarity that it is a circle, you are inside it, and it is closing. Detective Hale is the name you will learn later for the rumpled man directing all of this. But tonight he is just a silhouette by a cruiser with a flashlight cutting the dark. He is methodical. He is not chasing you through yards. He is doing something worse. He is sealing the neighborhood and waiting for you to make the circle small enough to close by hand. Cops on foot check the obvious. The smart ones sit on the exits. So you do the thing that feels backward. You stop running toward the edge and you go still in the dark between 2 garages, and you make yourself breathe, and you wait for the pattern. Every searchlight has a rhythm. Every walking officer has a route. You are 29 years old, and you have never studied anything the way you study the movement of those lights for the next 40 minutes. Because everything you have is riding on finding the one seam where 2 of them look away at the same time. The seam comes. A cruiser rolls to reposition and a foot patrol turns the far corner, and for a handful of seconds the mouth of the alley is nobody's job. You move. You do not sprint, because a sprinting shape is the one thing the eye is built to catch. You walk fast and low along the fence line the way a person walks when they belong somewhere, and you are out of the circle before it finished forming, 3 streets over, then 5, moving through backyards toward the tree line at the edge of the development. Only when the radios fade behind you does the second realization arrive, and it is heavier than the first. Running was not the smart move. It was the confession. A person with nothing to hide opens the door. He says there has been a mistake and calls a lawyer. You did the opposite, on instinct, in front of witnesses, and now every fact they had against you has a partner. He fled. Guilt does not need to be proven when a man behaves like this. You have handed them the story they wanted, wrapped and finished, and you cannot give it back. You think about Sandra in the doorway, the look on her face, the fact that you did not say a single word to her before you were gone. She will wake up tomorrow to investigators in her kitchen and a partner who vanished into the dark on the night of a killing. Whatever they tell her, some part of her will have to wonder. That wondering is the first thing this night takes from you, and it will not be the last. Ahead of you the woods go black and unlit and enormous. Behind you the whole apparatus of the law is turning to face one name. You step into the trees, no shoes, no plan, no phone you dare turn on, and you begin the longest run of your life. Level 2. The Vanish. The forest spits you out at dawn onto a county road, and the first thing daylight does is show you how visible you are. A man in a light blue hoodie with no shoes, walking a rural shoulder at sunrise, is a story anyone would remember. In the dark you were a shape. In the morning you are a description, and descriptions travel faster than you can walk. You understand now that the chase has changed shape. Last night it was men with flashlights. Today it is something quieter and much larger. It is the grid. Your face lives in a license database. Your name is on a watch list that pinged the moment they filed the warrant. Somewhere a phone number that belongs to you is a magnet, and every camera you pass is a witness that never blinks and never forgets what it saw. So the work is no longer running. The work is subtraction. You have to remove yourself, piece by piece, from every system that can say where you are. The man who had a name and an address and a face people knew has to be taken apart on purpose, and you have to do it before the grid finishes drawing the circle it started last night. The phone goes first. You still have it in your pocket, dead-screened and terrifying, because a phone is not a tool anymore. It is a beacon that reports your location to anyone with a badge and a form. You pull the battery in a gas station bathroom, wipe it down out of an instinct you didn't realize you had, and drop the pieces in 3 different bins along the road. The moment it is gone, you feel lighter and blinder at once. Nobody can find you now. You also cannot call the one person you want to. That is the first real cost, and it lands in full daylight at a payphone you did not know still existed outside a shuttered diner. You have Sandra's number memorized. You stand there in the sun with a fistful of change, and you understand that a call from a stranger's phone to her line is exactly the thread they are hoping you will pull. They will be listening to her. Loving someone is a data trail now. You put the change back in your pocket and you walk away, and that walk is harder than climbing any fence. Cash is the next lesson. A card is a signature written in light across the whole country, a bright that says here, at this hour, spending this. So you go cash only, and cash means you are suddenly poor in a way you have never been, counting bills in a motel parking lot, doing math on how many days of being nobody you can actually afford. You pay for a room with a name that is not yours and a story nobody checks, and you sit on the edge of a stranger's bed in the afternoon light and do the arithmetic of a life measured in nights you can pay for. That face is the last thing to change. You buy clippers and a cheap razor at a discount store, choosing a checkout line with no camera angle you can see, paying a bored teenager who will not remember you. Back in the room, you do the plainest, strangest thing. You make yourself ordinary. You change the shape of what people expect. Not a disguise like a movie, just a small, deliberate erosion of every feature a witness might have described to Detective Hale in a kitchen this morning. By now the case is not Hale's anymore. A killing with a fugitive who crossed a state line belongs to the federal side of things, and the file has moved to a desk that belongs to an agent named Reeves. You have never seen his face, and you already feel him. He will not be waiting at a roadblock. He will be at a screen, pulling threads, waiting for whatever is left of you in the systems to reach for something familiar. He knows what you do not want to admit yet, which is that people do not get caught running. They get caught reaching back. There is a truth the daylight keeps forcing on you, and it is the one you file away for later without wanting to. You are good at beating things that look at the world. Cameras, cards, phones, records. The whole watching apparatus can be starved and blinded if you are patient and poor and disciplined enough. But you are made of heat and scent and habit, and no amount of subtraction changes that. Somewhere ahead of you is a kind of hunt that does not need your face or your name at all, and a small cold corner of you dreads it in advance. For now, though, it works. Day by day the country's picture of you gets fainter, and the bus depots and the back roads and the towns too small to matter carry you further out of reach. The terrible, quiet triumph of it is simple. You disappeared. You just had to delete almost everything that made you a person to do it. Level 3. The ghost. Months pass, and you get good at not existing. That sentence should frighten you more than it does. You have settled in a small town a long way from the one you ran from. One main street. No reason for anyone to look twice. And you have built a person to live inside. He has a plain name that sounds like nothing. He has a story with no interesting parts, because interesting parts are what people repeat, and a face that has learned to hold nothing a stranger would carry home. The work is different now. In the second stretch you were subtracting, tearing the old life down to nothing. Here you are building, quietly adding back, just enough to pass. A room paid weekly in cash. A job swinging a hammer on a crew that asks no questions because everyone on it has a reason to be paid off the books. A route to the work site that never varies, because the man you have become is boring, and boring is the safest thing a hunted person can be. You are careful in ways that would look insane to anyone watching. You never sit with your back to a door. You know which faces belong on your street at which hours, so a new one registers before you have decided to notice it. You keep almost no money on you and none in any bank. You do not drink where men get loud, because loud rooms end in police, and police end in fingerprints. Every choice meets one test. Does this make me easier to find? If yes, you do not do it. And it works, which is the strange and lonely part. Nobody looks at the man on the roofing crew. The photograph the country saw belonged to someone with more hair and an easier face, and that person is gone. You have made yourself into a door nobody tries, and whole days pass where the fear drops below the surface, and you almost feel like a man with a life instead of a man in hiding. But a ghost is not free. A ghost is a person with the volume turned down on everything that used to make him real. You cannot use your own name, so you never hear it. You cannot claim a single thing you did before, no history, no people, no proof you were ever loved. The worst hour is not fear. It is an ordinary evening when the light goes gold over the rooftops, and there is genuinely no one on earth you are allowed to call, and you understand that survival and loneliness have become the same thing, wearing one coat. Which is why you do the one reckless thing in a life built entirely on caution. You go to see Sandra, not to speak to her. You are not that far gone. You just need to lay eyes on the one piece of your old life that still matters, to prove to yourself it was real. You travel most of a day to get near the town you swore off, and you stand across a wide street in the afternoon crowd with a cap low on your head. And there she is, coming out of a shop with a bag in her hand, alive and ordinary, and close enough that your chest forgets how to work. You do not cross. You do not lift a hand. You have just enough left in you to hold still and let the distance stay between you. And after a minute she turns a corner and is gone, and you tell yourself it was worth it. It was not. Because you were right about everything except one thing. You were right that they would listen to her. You were wrong to think that made staying away enough. Reeves never expected a phone call. He expected exactly this. A man cannot delete the part of himself that needs to see the face he loves, and Reeves built his whole patient watch around that single certainty. You do not see the man 2 cars down lift a phone, not to call anyone, just to photograph a figure across the street who moved the way the file said you move. You do not know that within the hour that image is on the agent's screen, and a region of the map blank for months suddenly has a pin in it. You got away clean that afternoon, almost proud of your discipline on the long ride back. And the whole time, without a sound, the circle you slipped all those months ago had found its center again and begun, very gently, to close. So you go back to the only move you have left when a place gets warm. You run again, not in panic this time, but in cold routine, deeper and smaller, out past the last towns to where the map goes green and empty and the roads turn to gravel and then to dirt. There is an old hunting cabin out there, half swallowed by the trees, and you make it your last address at the end of every road. You think the forest will hide you the way it did on the first night. You have forgotten the truth you filed away in that motel room. The forest hides a shape from a man. It does not hide a warm body from the things that are coming for you now. Level 4. The price. It comes on a cold night, and it does not come quietly. You are asleep in the cabin when the first sound reaches you, low and thudding and wrong. And by the time your eyes are open, the whole clearing outside the window is turning white. A helicopter hangs over the trees with a searchlight nailed to the ground, and inside that beam the world is daylight, while everywhere else is pitch black. Then you hear the dogs, not barking for show, but the steady working sound of animals that have already found what they were sent for. You understand, in one clean instant, the truth you spent a year refusing to finish. You beat the cameras, the databases, the cards, the phones, every eye, and every record. And none of it matters now, because the thing in the trees does not need your face or your name. It followed the heat coming off your skin and the scent your body left on every branch, and no discipline on earth deletes those. The forest that hid a shape from a man on the first night cannot hide a living body from this. There is a rifle in the corner. You look at it once and feel the pull of it, the animal wish to make the fear stop by any means. But you are not a killer. That was the entire point, the thing no one would believe. You are not going to prove them right in your last free minute by reaching for a weapon in front of men already certain you are dangerous. You leave the rifle where it is. So you do the last thing you have left to decide. You open the cabin door yourself, and you step out into the white light with your hands already high and empty, and you go down onto your knees on the cold ground before anyone tells you to. Boots come out of the dark on every side. Somebody is shouting. The dogs are close enough now to hear them breathe. And through all of it, you keep your empty hands in the air because they are the only argument you have left, and no one is in the mood to hear it. Agent Reeves reaches you last, unhurried, the way a man walks when the running is finally somebody else's problem. You have never seen his face, and you know him instantly. He does not gloat. He looks at you the way a decent man looks at a monster he has finally cornered, with a kind of grim relief. And that look is the worst part of the whole night, because it is sincere. He believes he just saved people from you. There is no hate in it. There is only certainty, and certainty is that thing you cannot argue with while your face is in the dirt. As they walk you out of the trees, cuffed and lit up and stumbling, you are not thinking about prison. You are thinking about Sandra. You came back to see her once, across the street, and that single human hour was the thread they pulled to unravel a year of ghosthood. You got caught for the most ordinary reason there is. You reached back toward the one you loved, and love, it turns out, was the tracking device they never needed you to carry. The trial is not a fight. It is a formality in the costume of one. The prosecutor tells a simple story any jury will swallow, and its strongest line is the one you wrote yourself on the first night. He ran. Innocent men do not vanish into the woods for a year. Every careful thing you did to survive becomes evidence of the guilt they already assumed, and the flight that felt like breathing at the time is read back to you now as a confession in motion. 12 strangers look at a man who spent a year erasing himself and see exactly what they were told to see. It does not take them long. They give you the years in a flat voice, and the years take everything the running had not. You come out the far side older, grayer, hollowed into someone even you would not recognize from that kitchen at 3 in the morning. And then, long after it can do you any good, the thing you stopped praying for actually happens. A different case, a different investigator, a loose thread pulled in another city, and the real trail surfaces at last. The evidence that was always out there finally lands on the right desk, and the machine that was so certain about you turns, slowly and without apology, and lets you go. They open the gate on an ordinary afternoon and hand you back your name. And that is the cruelest turn of all, because the freedom you spent so much to reach arrives empty. Sandra waited as long as a person can wait, and then, rightly, she built a life without you in it. The years are gone. The person you were is gone. You are innocent, officially, finally, and it changes nothing. The country knows how to give back the years it stole, because years can be counted. It has no way to return the life. You wanted your freedom back. You got it. It turns out that was never the thing you actually lost. If this one stayed with you, subscribe and come back for the next life.